Good afternoon, Ospreys. You're watching S News Live with the Student Union. I'm Austin Thielen.
And I'm Gabrielle Forbes. On today's show, how students are affected by gas prices.
James Fishback on campus.
Students speak on presidential search.
The first UNF Latin Fraternity.
The last Market Wednesday of the semester.
Film fest held by students on campus.
And a weather and sports update.
So stay tuned and enjoy the show.
Following the U.S. and Israel's attack on Iran that occurred earlier this year, the average gas price in Jacksonville is over 94 cents higher than last year's average. This is due to Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which acts as a major pathway for shipping crude oil globally. The closure of the strait created uncertainties in gasoline production, raising domestic prices. UNF students are feeling the impacts of these price raises, forcing some to reduce campus involvement, work more hours, and limit everyday travel as commuting costs increase. UNF students and NAACP board member Emma Ramsey said that the cost has forced her to attend less events and adjust her daily life. I don't even find it feasible to drive to the grocery store sometimes. It's easier to just walk to campus and go to Linda Wing. According to Linda Wing director Anjali Otul Gupta, there is no definitive link between the recent increase in food pantry usage and the price in spiked gas prices. Student CJ Reed said, "I'm dependent on my parents' money to pay for gas, and even so, I do feel that I notice it more. I'm still the one who goes out and fills up the gas in my car, so I'm the one who sees the ultimate price of filling up the tank fully. And I think it's somewhere around like $70 now." According to the Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. government is taking steps to give Americans relief at the pump. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin issued a temporary emergency fuel waiver to allow the sale of E15, a fuel blend of 85% gasoline and 15% ethanol, nationwide beginning on May 1st, 2026, according to an EPA press release. Democrats in the state legislature asked the governor to lift the state tax, but DeSantis denied and said the issue needs to be addressed at the federal level, as reported by NBC Miami.
Republican candidate for Florida Governor James Fishback took the stage at UNF's Adam W. Herbert University Center on April 8th, pitching a return to the old Florida of 1989. Fishback presented a campaign strategy focused on a variety of concepts, including Christian principles, aiming to enforce unity, and this concept was a shift from his original ideas. In November 2025, Fishback announced his candidacy for the Republican nomination during the election. He stated goals to continue Ron DeSantis' impact. "I'll fight to preserve Governor DeSantis' wins by keeping Florida free from DEI, radical transgenderism, Soros-backed prosecutors, child predators, voter fraud, and the millions of illegals that invaded our country on Kamala Harris," said Fishback in a social media post on X. In his UNF speech, Fishback deviated from this concept, claiming he will stay out of culture wars and focus on more traditional principles resonating with his Christian faith. Fishback painted the upcoming election as a battle of good versus evil, rather than a partisan one. The right and left wings are attached to the same corrupt, deceptive, deceitful, disingenuous, depraved bird. I am begging you to hire me as your next governor to shoot that bird out of the sky. Fishback also promised to roll back post-Parkland age restrictions on firearm purchases. He claims 18 is old enough to purchase firearms since they are old enough to enlist. The poll survey states that public sentiment remains mainly cautious regarding firearms, and bipartisan support for targeted gun prohibitions might be explained by recent violence against high-profile figures, poll director Sean Frieder said in the poll survey press release. Fishback wrapped up his speech with a prayer, following up with the claim that Christianity is the most persecuted group on the face of the earth.
This sunshine state is finally starting to see the sunshine. How are you feeling about the warm weather?
I am feeling awesome. It was so cold and nice out last weekend, but
Yes.
this week it's finally started to warm up. It finally feels like summer.
Finally.
Summer is coming. But I do know who does know what the actual weather is going to be like the next upcoming week. So let's go to Mia Espinales for your weekly weather update.
Hey Ospreys, as we're approaching the end of the spring semester, the weather can be unpredictable like those finals. Let's see what's in store for this week's forecast. Today it is 89 degrees and sunny. Moving on to this weekend, Saturday and Sunday will be mainly sunny and hot, and on Sunday there will be some passing clouds both days with highs somewhat hitting the low 90s. Monday through Thursday, there will be a significant drop in temperature as they remain in the 70s and slowly creep up to those low 80s by Thursday. Throughout the week, it'll be partly cloudy, but the sun will pop up just for a bit on Thursday. Well, yes, Ospreys, that's all I have for you on this week's Next News Weather. Check in next week for your next forecast and have a great weekend, Ospreys. Now back to the studio for Next News.
The University of North Florida's Presidential Search Committee invited students to a listening session on Thursday, welcoming input from the student body as they continue to search for UNF's 8th president. One major issue students raised was academic advising, noting ongoing challenges despite the university's efforts to improve the system. Student body treasurer Catherine Tolo Villanueva, who majors in computer science, notes her advisor lacks experience in commuting and hopes UNF will revamp the academic advising system. She majored in zoology in college, so it has nothing to do with my major, said Villanueva. The session is part of a series of conversations the committee is holding to gather input on the qualities and characteristics stakeholders believe the next UNF president should possess. Student body president and board of trustees member Amelia Dahl said in an email to Spinnaker that the Presidential Search Committee values students' perspectives and is committed to student success. Dahl said, "In my role, it is my responsibility to advocate for the student voice and ensure it is clearly represented throughout the search process. I believe the student voice is essential as students are at the forefront of the university's mission." Dahl also encourages students to look out for opportunities to provide feedback throughout the search process.
The University of North Florida recently welcomed the first Latino fraternity to both its campus and the city of Jacksonville. The fraternity, a chapter of Lambda Upsilon Lambda, focuses on brotherhood, academic excellence, and Latino culture, according to UNF political science major David Caceres, the fraternity's deuce. When I first came to UNF, I saw the only fraternities usually available to students were white fraternities or historically black fraternities. The idea of a Latin American fraternity at UNF has been here since I first came here, Caceres said. According to Caceres, one of their primary goals is to support the Latino community, and they have already established a relationship with San Jose Elementary, where 60% of the student body is Spanish-speaking. Even prior to joining the organization, these were things that I cared about deeply. When I saw that there was a major pillar of the organization, it was a no-brainer.
Wednesday, April 15th was the last market Wednesday of the semester. And what a last day it was. Reporter David Green has the details.
On Wednesday, April 15th, UNF held its last market day of the semester with a few surprises. I spoke with the team about their plans for the fall and their reflections on how this past semester went.
We had a very busy spring. We did 13 out of 14 market days. One was canceled for weather. Our numbers as far as foot traffic are up about 30% from this time last year, so we're really proud and excited from that. And we got great survey responses from our 70s event, which had the tie-dye, which was an activity we hadn't done in years. And it really motivates us to try to bring back other crafts and other things such as today's petting zoo that students really enjoyed. So we know that students are finishing projects and have so much going on, they're getting ready for exams, and we thought it was a really fun way for them to relax and just have something that they did not expect to be able to interact with at market days. Yeah, we would love to have it more. They do take a lot of coordination and it's expensive. We also have to look at weather there's certain weather we can have the animals out and not, but we would love to have them at least once a year, probably at one of the last market days of either semester, just to support finals and students getting in the right mind frame.
Once fall comes around, be sure to check out market days starting August 19th. I'm David Green, Spinnaker TV.
Now, last Friday, students held a film fest with a showing of personal short films and a panel with UNF alumni and communications professors. Deshaun Charity has an inside look.
On Friday, April 10th, a film festival was held at Osprey Ridge's Clubhouse. The event was hosted by KJ Hodges, a sophomore student here at UNF. The event held a panel with alumni and communication professors sharing their experiences and answering participant questions. I was able to speak with KJ Hodges to get a better understanding as to why an event like this is so important. Hodges said that the thought behind this event was to bring together the film community here at UNF, using alumni, faculty, and staff. Hodges continues by saying that this event was important to him, saying that there really isn't much for the film community. I was also able to speak with Professor Frank Gooden, with him saying that filmmaking, movie making in general, often gets glamorized, with students only seeing the success and being unmotivated. And an event like this is important because it allows film professionals to come in and speak with the students, giving them a personal aspect and making them motivated. With that, I'm Deshaun Charity with Nest News.
And now let's go to Ryan with a weekly sports update.
Hello everyone. Finals are approaching, and while you attempt to finish the semester strong, your UNF athletic teams are looking to ace the rest of their seasons. So without further ado, let's get right into this week's UNF Sports Update. Starting things on the sand, the Ospreys beach volleyball team showed a ton of resilience in the Capri Classic, as after falling in a hard-fought 3-2 match to 15th-ranked Florida Atlantic, UNF responded by taking down both Florida Gulf Coast and Jacksonville. The Ospreys will look to tack on to this recent success with a 3-match slate at the DeLand Cup this weekend. Sliding things over to the Birds of Clay, the UNF softball team is starting to build momentum, as after a tumultuous 2-7 start to ASUN play, they have now won 4 of their last 6 games, including clinching a series win over top of the division Stetson last weekend. They will look to stay hot at home versus Queens this weekend.